Hello everyone and welcome. It's Shanna. I'm so glad you're here today. Now today we're working with some new product from Spellbinders, and we have got the Rolling Craft Tote die set from Spellbinders, and there are 12 cutting dies for this, and you can do two types of Rolling Craft totes. You've got one with a long handle with the handle extended and then with a shorter handle. In addition to that, we're going to be using some Hero Arts. We've got a stamp set that is called Keep Calm, and this is designed to pair with this. The designer is Sherry Valentine, and she designed both the Rolling Craft Tote die set and the stamp set. This stamp set has all kinds of fun sentiments that you could put with it. Buy the craft supplies, keep calm and craft on. This is how we roll. Crafting is cheaper than therapy. Buy the craft supplies. I'll help you carry on, and lots of other sentiments. Now, I have got all of my pieces die cut out and laying in my tray here, and we're going to make a couple of craft totes with this. So I'm just going to bring in my tweezers. We're going to grab our first one, and we are going to get started assembling this. Now, you're going to see some little hands in this because I've got both of my grandsons with me this weekend, and they are helping me with my card making this weekend. So Logan just handed me my glue gun, and he's going to do some pressing, and Wyatt's going to do some pressing as well. So I'm going to get, I've got chiffon, Bellini, and I can't think of the other name of the cardstock. I'll link everything in the description box below so you can check it out. But this is Logan. He's giving it a little press. We're putting our side pocket on our rolling craft tote, and I'm getting the decorative stitched piece laid down on here right now. And there's some good debossed detail on there that you can line it up with so you can see exactly how it goes. And then we're going to put the front of the tote on there. It has an extra sheet to add some extra dimension, and it's got some debossed detail in there as well that shows you how to layer your other pieces. So I'm just going to line it right up on the edge where that debossed detail is so that I can get it exactly where I want it. And then we're going to give it a press. And I think that's Wyatt's hand. Wyatt's pressing that one. They're taking turns. So I've got the front pocket that's going to go on the front of this tote. And I'm using two different colors to kind of add the shadow that would be seen on like the side of the pocket there. And we're just going to give it a good press. And then we'll get the stitch detail on it as well. And I'm just using my glue press and just getting some glue on there. Now, I've almost laid that on there, and then I realized I've got to get my straps laid on there. So I'm going to lift it up before I pressed it down, and we're going to get, first we've got to get this top piece here, and this adds the stitch detail to the top of it, and then we'll add our straps, and they'll tuck in behind this other panel so that you don't see, where we're gluing it. So I'll just get some glue on here, and we'll get these straps laid down on here. And I'm just going to clean up the glue because I got a little bit too much. I'm just trying not to make a gluey mess. And I'm just going to give it a press. And Logan is going to give it a press there. Those are his little hands. And then I'm going to lay that stitch detail over the top of it, and it'll cover up that bottom portion of the straps that you should not see. So just carefully lining it up and giving it a press. Now this little tiny piece here is like a tag or a nameplate for the front of your tote. And I'm just going to get it laid down on there. It has some really nice detail. It's framed out very nice. Now this is the part that would have the wheels and then kind of how you would stand it up. So you've kind of got those front legs, and then you have just a single wheel that'll show down there on the bottom. And Logan's going to give that a little press. And then there are two types of handles. You have the handle when you've got your handle pushed down, or the handle when it's pushed up. And so this tote here is going to represent, we've got the handle pushed in the down position. And I'm just getting it assembled. I'm chasing it around my glass mat there. And we'll give it a little press and make sure we've got it stuck together nice and neat. And then we'll add this to our tote. And this comes together really quickly. Like I said, there's 12 cutting dies, so it's not, a whole bunch of pieces, but enough to give it all the detail that you need. So I'm just going to line this up on my tote, and we've got all of our elements on there except for the will. I haven't added the will yet. And so I've got 2 layers here. You've got the backer piece and then the piece that has the hole in it. And so I've used that cardstock, the matching cardstock, and I'm just going to get it laid down on there. Now, you could do like black wills and black legs or whatever, but I just thought it'd be fun to have kind of the alabaster color legs and handles, and then just use the same color for the wills as I've used for my totes. These are designer totes. So I'm going to give that a press, and there we go. I'm showing you, but I have not put the decorative handle on, and I will do that. I've realized that I need to do that, so I'm going to grab it real quick. Now you have 2 types of handle. One fits the shorter one, and then there's a different size that fits the taller one. So you just need to get the right one. And I have extras because they die cut out together, and I was doing different colors, so I've got extras. So now we're going to move on to the next one, and we're going to do it just like we did the other one. And I don't think I'm assembling it in a little bit of a different order, but it doesn't matter as long as you get the right pieces in the right spots. And so I'm just going to get it laid down on there, and I'm going to have my little fingers come in and press it again. And then we're going to add the shadow piece for the side pocket. And I am using my Spellbinders tweezers there, and those are part of that 4-piece craft set that Spellbinders just rolled out. I will link them in the description box below. There's Wyatt, he's helping me out there. And then we're going to lay the shadow down, or the decorative element, to the side pocket. Actually, this is the top piece. And it's kind of got an angled slant on there. It would be like the flap that you could lift up and tuck stuff in or whatever. And then here's the shadow piece for the front pocket, and we'll get it laid down on there. And we've kind of went with we just kind of repeated our color scheme on this. Our panels that we're going to use for our card base, we're going to use the same colors. We're just going to kind of keep the same color scheme going throughout our whole card. And so we'll get these decorative straps laid down on here. And you've got really good debossed detail. I'm lifting it up and turning it so that I can see that debossed detail on there and get those straps laid exactly where they go. So I'm going to get this stitched panel laid down on there. I was just rubbing the little die cut hairs off of the side of it with my fingers, and then we'll get it laid down on there. And then we've got the stitched piece for the front pocket. And this really did come together pretty quickly. So we'll give that a press. And then we've got, again, we have got our little tag that we're going to put on the pocket. And just give it a press. So we had a really busy day. You've already watched me assemble one of these, so I don't have to tell you every detail of it. But we actually had a baby shower that we went to and had that. And the boys were able to play in the game room at the church and did that. And then we came back to the house. I don't know what we did. Hung out for a little bit. And then we went to a birthday party. And they got to play with their cousins. And then we came back and everybody was hungry, so we got something to eat. And I was tired, so I took a little nap. The boys watched a movie. And then when I got up, we decided to go in the craft room, and they wanted to make a video with me. And I needed to make a video, so I said, oh, let's do it. So Wyatt and I sat down, and we picked all of the colors, and we picked the background panels and the embossing that we wanted to do on our panel. And we decided, how we were going to lay our card base down and everything. And he was kind of going through the whole process with me. In fact, I'm even showing him now how we edit the video and how we do the voiceover. He's going to pop in here at the end and just add a little bit to our voiceover. But he actually does, it has been working on a video that he's making. He's got it 30 minutes long now. He and his cousins have been filming a video over a period of time, and they keep adding to it. But anyway, so he is familiar with editing software, and I was showing him mine, and he was saying that the software that he's using is very similar to that. Anyway, so we're going to put the handle on this. Now this is, we've got our handle pulled out. We're ready to pull and walk along with our craft tote because we've got our handle extended, and so we're ready to go. Now, we did choose a different sentiment than a crafty sentiment. Wyatt wanted to choose the sentiment, "I'll help you carry on." That's the one that he wanted to choose. And I thought that was fun because, if I didn't give it to a crafty person or whatever, I could just give it to anyone. And I think it kind of goes along with, like your carry-on suitcase that you use on a luggage or on an airplane. I thought that kind of went along with that. Now, we did take and created our panels. We used the Playful Stitched dies from Spellbinders that just came out, and we used this Dot and Posy Duo 3D embossing folder to create the polka dots on this. And I laid the die down on an A2 size card base and die cut it out, and we're going to use the negative piece as well to frame out. So I'm just going to take it and lay it down on my card base. And so we'll have the dark, the light, the dark, and just kind of have a layering of all of our colors there. And so we're just going to get it lined up on there and just layer our panels. So, Wyatt was observing that as we were working through that we actually assembled the die cut pieces and put the card together a lot quicker than we did our design plan. We did all of our die cutting and planned it, and Wyatt made the observation that, hey, it took us longer to figure out what we were doing and how we were doing it than to actually do it. And that is true a lot of times, especially if you can't decide on your design. So Wyatt was telling me I had globbed some glue on there, and he wanted me to wipe it off before it drips. So he was pointing that out to me. So I'm going to get this pressed down on here and lined up. The dots on here kept throwing our eye off, thinking that our frame wasn't right. And I did bring in the guillotine and do some trimming on it. But then we laid it down again, and we concluded that it was the dots that was throwing our eye off. So I contemplated popping this up, but then we decided to just bring in the glue and just lay it down on there flat. And so I'm going to get plenty of glue on there because we've got that 3D embossing, and you've got to hit the raised areas to make it stick. So you want to make sure you get plenty of glue on there so that it will stick on that 3D embossed panel. And I'm just going to give it a good rub and kind of press it and make sure we get a good hold on it. And then we're going to get to working. But we did bring in a background frame for our sentiment, but we will not use it. We'll kind of audition it and see if we want to use it or not, but we wind up just using just the alabaster strip with our sentiment on there. So we've got a lot on this A2 size card, and we decided we would layer them and kind of have one in the back and one in the front and pop it up. And I was trying to decide which direction I wanted to go, and then I decided to just go how I first had it, with the long handle on the left and then the shorter one on the right, and we'll just layer it up. So we're just going to get some glue on here and get it laid down. Now, I did decide to bring in just a little tiny strip of foam square to put on that raised handle because it's going to go across some layers, and I just want it to lay flat. So I'm going to get it on there, and then we'll glue up the rest of it, and we'll get it to lay nice and flat on our card base. So we're going to get some glue on there. We'll just give it a press. And there we go. And that foam worked out just perfectly on there. And then we're just going to figure out how to layer this. I think I'm going to move it up a little bit. And I'm going to put foam squares on the back of this just to add a little extra dimension and kind of help bring it forward in our design. And so I'll just put several pieces of this. This is only 1 millimeter foam tape, so it's not, a bunch of dimension. You're not going to have any problem melling this card. It'll mel just fine if I want to mel it. So we'll just remove this release paper off of here, and then we'll get our second craft tote laid down on our card base. And I'm just getting some little strips on those smaller areas so that they don't show. And then we're just going to bring it up and lay it down on there a little bit. I just thought it'd be fun to have a couple of the totes and to represent both of the handles on there. So that's why I chose to do two, and realizing we don't have a lot of space there, but I think it'll work out just fine. So I'm just going to tuck it in. And Captain is out whining outside the door, so I don't know if you hear him. If you hear a little dog whining, it's Captain. He wants to come in. He hears us in here, and he's like, I want to be in there. We've got the door closed just to keep the sound down. But anyway, so here I'm thinking, and Wyatt was thinking maybe we put the sentiment down there. And then I decided let's just go up top. And Logan was pointing out that he liked it up top. And I decided to not use the dark piece behind it and to just pop it up. So we're going to get this sentiment laid down on our card base. And we've got a cute little card. It's a different color scheme. It is a little bit different than what I normally do, but I do like these colors, and I think they pair nicely together. So we'll get our sentiment laid down on there. And I did ask Wyatt, did I have it lined up straight? And we're trying to get it straight on there. And then Logan's going to give it a good press. And I told him that the one area needed pressed harder. So I've got some opal gems from Spellbinders, and I'm going to position some gems down on there. Now Logan was telling me where he thought thought I should put them. So I'm just going to, if I can get a hold of them, I'm going to get them laid down. So I've got one above the sentiment, one below the sentiment, and then I'm going to kind of make it in a line toward the bottom. And so I'll lay, if I can get a hold of it, it's rolling around there on my wax tool. We'll just grab one and get it laid down on there. And then I decided that I wanted to fill in the space more, so I'm going to add a couple more, and we'll get those laid down on there. And we'll just get it positioned. And then that'll just add a little bling to our card. And we'll just get our pieces parts out of the way. I'm going to give you a quick look at the card. I think it come together pretty nicely. And the boys helped.
Ta-da!
And that will finish off our card. So here is a quick picture of our card. If you liked it, hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Here's a couple more videos that you can check out that I've made.